Let us shine this light of awareness on that higher power, on that unstoppable force of love that is beating the hearts of every individual here and everywhere on this planet. Recognizing that that love is the heartbeat, it is the footprint, it is the wind, it is the soil, it is you and I. And so as we just feel that knowingness of our greatness, of our key purpose, we just bask in that confidence, that warm light of knowingness. And so as we let everything else go, we open our hearts to this message, to this timing, to this symphony of love. We let it go. We let it be. And so it is. Good morning. What a great kickoff to our service today. Now, as we know, we are still in the season of peace for another 2 Sundays. So, our candle lighter today will be none other than Drake. Hi, Drake. And of course, we are an interfaith gathering, a spiritual community that does honor all teachings and all spiritual teachers. As we begin this ceremony that celebrates the oneness of life, which acknowledges that all people and all faiths come for the one universal presence we call spirit, let us honor our Zoroastrian prayer for peace. I may have butchered that. I tried my best. We did it 4 times together, and I'm probably still butchered it. Good morning. We pray to God to eradicate all the misery in the world, that understanding triumph over ignorance, that generosity triumph over indifference, that trust triumph over contempt, and that truth triumph over falsehood. Now let us take this moment to light our healing candle of love. I invite you in the stillness of your own mind to bring to awareness the names of anyone or anything that you wish to be included in the healing flame of love and light. And now that our flames of faith are fully lighted, we move forward into our celebration that realizes and reaffirms all paths lead to God. Thank you, Drake. Now we have an inspirational quote today. Rev. From Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. I tried my best. Today, something is happening to the whole structure of human consciousness. A fresh kind of life is starting, driven by the forces of love. The fragments of the world are seeking each other so that the world may come into being. And back to our choir.
Several years ago, I don't even think I was a licensed minister yet, but I was invited to speak here at the center, and I was in Toastmasters at the time, and I really wanted to practice and use my oratorical skills and whatnot. And I accepted the invitation to speak here. About then, we had a young family that was kind of new to us. They'd only been here one Sunday before. They sort of stood out for a couple of reasons. One was their kids stayed with them here in the sanctuary. They didn't go in with the other little kids. But the second thing was how well behaved the kids were. They were really well behaved little kids, and they didn't get in the way of everything. Well, I was trying my very, very best to give a really impactful talk. And my idol for pauses was Paul Harvey. And one of the points that I was trying to make was that the infinite nature of God, that this divine creative source is more than we can imagine. It is totally infinite in every direction. And so what I said was that in the eyes of the infinite, which is so great, we are nothing but dust. And there I laid in my great Paul Harvey pause. Boy, this sanctuary was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. And then out of the back row there was a little voice that said, "Daddy, what's butt dust?" Well, welcome today to the Alaska Center for Spiritual Living. Thank you for coming out, those of you who are here. And for those of you online, thank you for tuning in. It is indeed an honor to be invited into your homes. And I need to pause a moment to compliment our choir today. You guys sound awesome. And the backbenchers over here, Linda and Ladora, they hide back there. But in the two-part thing today, you guys held up you are awesome. So thank you. And of course, Sarah, thank you for coming today. We hope that Aaron is having a wonderful time. In a warmer climate. I checked the weather there today. The high will be 78 and the low will be a frigid 71. Wow. So we'll have to chide her about that. Welcome. Our theme this month is That's How We Have Never Done It. I still haven't quite figured it out, but the first week I invited everyone to seize the day, that we live in this field of infinite possibilities, and I invited everyone to seize the day of infinite possibilities. The next week, we acknowledged our past, the good, the bad, and the ugly, while at the same time disengaging ourselves from that past, so that we are not condemned to repeat it. Told a story of the cadet from the Citadel when we were back in Charleston, and what a profound moment that was to look at the ugliness of our past and then disengage from it. And then last week, Linda asked us if we believe what we see or we see what we believe. She pointed out it's all in how we see it. So it's real simple. Look for the good. But then we had a little Gavin come out at the kids' portion of this service, and he said something so deeply profound. If you want to have a friend, be a friend. Out of the mouths of babes. Well, next week is Kaleem. It's Easter. There's no truth to the rumor that he's going to come in a tablecloth like he was last week. I don't know if he's going to be a Roman or what, in a toga. Who knows? But I know that Kaleem will put a perfect bow on this month. Today, the title of my talk is What's Next? And the music, one of the points that I'm going to try to get to today is that we don't need to worry about all these details all the time, because there is a power in the universe that's greater than we are, and it's helping us, and we don't need to figure everything out all the time. And this is a perfect example of it. Aaron was going to be gone. She picked the music. She sent it out 2 weeks early. I hadn't written a talk. I hadn't done anything. I didn't do that until I was up in Talkeetna and going back, and I kind of had my points and stuff, and I was ready to go. But the music that she picked, the first song that we had, Let Your Light Shine, that's exactly the point that I'm trying to make today. How did she know that 2 weeks ago? And then all about allowing. Oh my goodness. That's it. Just step back and allow this to happen. So I think here's visible, tangible proof of the divine working through us. In this case, it was working through Aaron to kind of guide me on the right path for this week. As we learn to accept our own divinity, the question becomes, what are we going to do with it? My two major points. One, we are bigger than we ever thought we were. We are way larger than butt dust. And secondly, what are we going to do about it? The essence of this, the wholeness of God, the love of God, the givingness of God is not only available to us, it is us. It is who and what we are. It's not just available to us, it's who we are. One of the quotes that I have been using in, oh my goodness, practitioner training, many classes over many, many years is from Marianne Williamson. And she nails this. And anybody that's been coming here long has heard this. She wrote this in her book, A Return to Love, Reflections on the Principles of A Course in Miracles. And she wrote, our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And as we let our light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. It's within you already. Let it shine. As we step into our new identity as divinely human, we evolve from getting to having to being. We are God's experience and expression. Our inner happiness is no longer dependent upon our outer situation. The big fancy house or the new car with all the bells and whistles isn't your key to happiness. The key to happiness comes from within. So point number 2, what are we going to do about it? Maybe a better question would be, how are we going to more effectively shine our light? That light that Marianne Williamson is talking about. How are we going to be more effective at shining that? Or I guess another way to phrase it is, how are we going to use our power? And the answer, the simple answer, is that divine love wisdom that's within each and every one of us will lead us. But you say, Rev, I haven't heard any booming voices from the sky. I haven't, seen any burning bushes. How do I know what it is? Well, this is where we step into our spiritual principles and spiritual practices. You know, a perfect example of this is visioning. The visioning that we're doing for our center right now, we just get quiet and we open up and we listen to the infinite. We listen for the still small voice. We listen for that thing that may be small. It doesn't have to be James Earl Jones booming down from the heavens. It doesn't have to be the burning bush that never consumes itself. It can be that little whisper. It can be that urge that would allow Aaron to pick the perfect songs for today before I ever even thought of them. That's what happens when we step into that. I don't know whether we're going to continue with the visioning class that we had, but Tony Beulah up in Kotlik is going to lead, in, I believe it's the third Wednesday of every month, a group visioning. And everyone is invited to do that. It's in the announcements. It's on our website. What a perfect time to step into that, to be open to that direction, to allow that infinite to express through you. Or maybe the question ought to be is, what is mine to do? And yours to do is to be all that you can be. David Riccio, he's psychotherapist, about my age, I think, maybe a little older, author of numerous books. Generally, they are about how to be an adult. And but one book that he wrote was called Wholeness and Holiness. And in Wholeness and Holiness, he wrote, "We can trust that something is afoot in the universe that wants us to connect all of the gifts that we have with all of the needs that others have. There is no duplicate of ourselves before, during, or after our lifetime. So our part in such a purpose is not only unique, but necessary if all that we are is to get its chance to bloom." If we want that, all that we are, to bloom and to grow, we have to give it a chance. And Ernest Holmes voices a similar thought, a similar concept. This is from Love and Law. "Now we must open up to the doors of our consciousness and expand and expand and expand, and no longer think in terms of the backyard lot, but in terms of the infinite nature of the universe." No longer thinking in terms of the backyard, but in terms of the universe. And it is that infinite universe that is operating through each and every one of you. There's the old Zen proverb. I'm sure you've heard this. I've used it. Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. The point is that our tasks don't change. Our consciousness does. This evolution or development, whatever you want to call it, is already within us. Example, it could be a plant. We look at a thriving fruit. It exchanges CO2 and oxygen to allow the animals to breathe. It benefits all creatures. Its blooms establish a cooperative relationship with the bees. It offers fruit in abundance to all creatures, feeding birds and animals, which then scatters its seeds to ensure its reproduction. What comes to me, and I should know this, I believe that it is Matthew Look at the birds of the sky. They do not sow, nor do they reap, nor do they store into barns, and yet the Heavenly Father feeds them. He's not only talking about the birds of the sky. We have to do certain things to stay alive in this world, but we don't need to do all of everything ourselves all the time. There is that infinite presence that's there to help us. We, as humans, can find our own ways to more consciously cooperate with each other and with all life as we intentionally move from survive to thrive. What I want you to take away today, this is from Ernest Holmes' Love and Law. Now, we must open up the doors of our consciousness and expand and expand and expand and no longer think in terms of the backyard lot, but in terms of the infinite nature of the universe. And so it is with that awareness of the infinite nature of the universe and the awareness of our magnificence and our ability to let the divine move through us. And I invite my colleagues, the practitioners, to join me in simply knowing that as we go through life, that infinite presence is with us in this and in every moment. And even though we go through things in life which appear to be challenges, we can know that presence is with us. And when we are faced with lack and limitation, when we have less than, when we have more month than we have paycheck, we can simply know that we live in an abundant universe and that infinite presence will take care of us. As we go through life and we face health challenges, we can simply know that infinite presence has never had a toothache, has never had illness, has never had a broken leg. And even though we experience those things, those do not define who we are. The things that define who we are how we interact with the world. If we want to have a friend, we simply need to be a friend. And as we go through life and we experience separation from one another, separation from God, we know that all relationships are expression of the Most High. They are all touch points of the infinite creation with one another. Whether they be family relationships, work relationships, romantic relationships, it makes no difference because this is God loving God. And so we can just be grateful. We can be grateful for our awareness of that infinite presence in our lives and in our world. We give thanks, we let it go, we let it be, and so it is. Amen. Namaste.
And what a blessing it is. A blessing to be the expression and the experience of God, all in the same token. A blessing to recognize that we can shine our light and give permission to those in the darkness to shine theirs as well. So as we take this moment to see that what we have is enough, to allow that flow of prosperity, that flow of confidence, that flow of excellence to operate through and as each and every one of us. Recognize that when we fall, we give others a chance to show compassion. When we rise, we give others a chance to practice celebration. And when we breathe, we give others permission to breathe as well. And so let us just release any and all doubt, hesitation, and then bask in that knowingness of our true essence. And so it is.
And so